Happy Halloween, everyone. Today, we will be doing the Hallowed Blight. Journal Entry 1. The Night. It is impossible to describe the horrifying scenes I have witnessed. Death and misery in every shape of terror rule this place. I can no longer recall how I have come to this place. All I remember is the opaque, milky fumes of opium in the murky den hazing a sweet, welcoming abyss. I awoke to dreadful screams in this endless night. At the feet of an old tree that leaked foul-smelling fluids. I know not how to reach those poor souls, nor do I want to. Keeping a record is all I can do to make sense of it. Entry 2. Vigo. I discovered a hidden laboratory while running away from a monster. Its stocks are uncommonly plentiful. I observed shelves of alkaloids, crates of silver syringes, piles of protective clothing, and a journal signed Vigo. Its pages are filled with notes on an ancient force that controls the nature of this place, that shapes it. I also noted a few drawings of the growing cankers I've seen on the trees. Entry 3. The Blight. I have been obsessively deciphering Vigo's journal. His work is elegant but erratic, drawing more obscure conclusions from disjointed fields. Most entries mention a powerful force, the entity, which undergoes a purge that occurs once a year. During this period, the entity is infested with blight. According to Vigo, cankers bloom into pustules, a type of flower that spurts putrid nectar, the thick fluid I saw oozing from the trees. The last pages of the journal mention a serum distilled from the nectar, but the pages detailing its effects and preparation were torn out. Entry 4. Wounded. I'm hiding in a dense strip of forest. I'm desperate to erase the distressful images engraved in my mind. Last night, a disfigured man barged into my laboratory with a gruesome, mechanical jaw and shredded my walls into splinters. I barely escaped with my life, and wounded my arm in the process. I have no options left. These monsters find me no matter where I go. All I have is this journal filled with obscure promises of escape. I will return to the laboratory. Entry 5. Experiment. I'm close to death. I can feel it. When I returned to the laboratory, I started experimenting with the putrid nectar and distilled it into a foul serum. But I made a terrible mistake. I injected the serum into a dead rodent, whose pupils dilated and its body shook. I tried to restrain it, but the creature bit into my arm, ripping my wound open. I stopped the bleeding, but I fear the damage is done. Entry 6. Experiment 2. I awoke to a terrible cry booming from the cellar and a violent bout of nausea. Through the vile ordeal, I started to recollect what had happened. Tainted with the foul serum, my wound had swollen with lymph, at which point my assailant returned. Most of our fight was a blur, but I can recall red tears trickling down his gruesome cheeks as I clawed at his face. And some moment later when I kicked him, sending him crashing into a brick wall. The power I felt then. There are no words for it. I know now there is truth to Vigo's methods. Another cry. My assailant, now chained in the cellar, must be getting restless. This is just the beginning. Entry 7. The Peak. I should have foreseen his escape, given the potent dosage I administered him, but I needed to see results. Pustula flowers are now blooming on the path leading to the laboratory. According to Vigo's journal, this rapid spread is a sign that the blight is at its peak. Soon there will be no more putrid nectar to extract. Entry 7. Exhausted. I slept very little. The acute throbbing in my wounds sent me on a restless, agitated drowse. I have no strength left to be patient, and my distress fosters brutal methods. There are no lines I will not cross. Entry 9. Restless. I limited my rest to only a few minutes here and there. I cannot afford wasting time. Pustulas, once lush with nectar, were withering away at the roots of cankerous trees. I could only extract droplets from a few frail flowers. I'm running out of time. Entry 10. At last. Based on Vigo's calculations, tonight is my last chance. I filled a syringe with the last drops of serum and injected it into my arm. Entry 11. The end. I did everything right, and failed. I am stuck in this infernal place with no serum and nowhere to hide. Entry 12, Vigo. I looked for Vigo. I shouted his name with no concern for the monsters lurking about. I need to find him. I pictured the scene, etching a canvas of wild lines in my mind, focusing on the moon, and I know something is off. I fed the dead rodent under my pillow. Entry 13, pray. Soon, very soon, I will be at peace. The cold claws of death are drawing near. It's here. The entity is here. It has found me.